Next up, the different variables and types in Lua. There are in fact 8 basic types, which are nil, number, Boolean, string, a table, which is probably the most important type in my opinion. A function is actually type, user data, and a thread. So we're going to cover the first 4 mentioned above, and then we'll cover more advanced types like tables and functions in their own tutorials a little bit later. So first off, let's basically just create the type nil. Now the type nil is actually the default type in Lua. So if you create a variable called myVar and you don't initialize it to anything else, it is actually going to be type nil until you give it or assign it some particular value. So we'll just verify this. We'll create 2 variables, myVar1 and myVar2. We'll explicitly assign nil to the second variable, this one here. And then we'll just print out the type using the print function and this type command. To see exactly that what I said was in fact true. So just save that, go ahead and run it, which it automatically ran, and you can see down here both of those types are in fact nil. Nil being basically nothing. Next up, the type number. So let's just put a comment in here. Let's explore the type number. And in fact, all numbers in Lua are stored internally as double precision floating point numbers. So let's just start off here. We'll create 2 variables, my num1 equals 5, which we haven't actually put a decimal point in there, but it will still be treated as a floating point number. And local my num2 6.0. I'll create a 3rd variable called my num3, and we'll just add those 2 together that we created above. And then we'll print out the result. And we'll also print out and check its type. So I'll save that, and it automatically rerun, and you can see here my num3 adds up to 11 as we would expect, and the type of that my num3 variable is type number, as we also would expect. Next up, the type Boolean, which can have 2 distinct values, either true or false. So it should be noted that in Lua, conditional statements such as if else, which we'll get into later, consider both the Boolean value false and type nil to be false, and everything else in a conditional statement is assumed to be true. So you just need to be careful, because Lua considers both the numeric value 0 and an empty string to evaluate as true in conditional tests. Don't worry too much about that. We will get more into that as we go along in these videos. So next up, let's check out type Boolean. So I'll start off creating a variable called isCorrect, and we'll allocate it or assign it the value true. So we're just going to write a quick little if-else conditional set of statements, and we'll see what exactly prints out here. So if is correct, then print, just to show that you are in fact in the if part of this branch, else print in else part, and end. So we'll get a bit more into if-else conditional statements later, but we just want to explore this particular variable, which is of type Boolean. So save that and rerun, and down here in the terminal you can see that since isCorrect evaluates as true, this initial if branch is executed and we get the print out of in if part. If you go ahead and change that to false and save it, rerun, you can see of course now that print statement drops out in else part as the string of text.